Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I appreciate your patience for as I was facing some technical issues. And now I think I can start the class if you are ready. I would love to request you if you have any technical issues, like if you don't hear me or if you don't see the slides, please you can tell here or you can write in the chat box. And I hope that the screen will be available on your screen in a few seconds. It's true that we are 7 minutes late today, so we shall try to uh, take a full-fledged 2 hours class. And in the meantime, I would request you to sit with your laptop for the class, as the classes will be like theoretical and workshop. So we may take a 1-year class, a theoretical class, then we'll go for a 1-year workshop so that we can replicate the learning we learn in the theoretical session. So I think we can go ahead now. Still now, if you face any issues, technical issues, let me know in terms of this, the audibility of my sound and the visibility of my screen. So today is our second formal class. And in this session, we shall discuss about project identification and definition. And the rationale behind starting with this step, we shall discuss in a few minutes. In this module, we shall cover the identifying and defining the needs of a project, types of data and data collection, and we shall discuss Bradshaw's 4 categories of social needs. We shall discuss stakeholder identification and analysis using the Venn diagram. We shall discuss problem and objective trees, and also current state and future state analysis and the logical framework. And I hope that some of our colleagues are facing some technical issues in terms of network, which is a very common issue in Bangladesh right now. I hope that you can take part in the class. So when talk about project identification and definition phase, we have rationale why we discuss this phase. Before starting this class, let me set the explanation why we start with this class, and the class name is project identification and definition. people who are working in development sector and who wants to work in development sector, they commonly know about the development projects, and people who are working in humanitarian sector, they also know about the humanitarian sector, and people who work in development and humanitarian and emergency sector, they have little orientation about corporate sector or industrial sector, and also the other projects in other sectors, including IT and construction sector. So in our PGDPM course, we have incorporated the syllabus of and the learning competencies of that are required for development projects and also industrial or corporate or IT construction projects. That's why we combine the project DPRO model, means the DPRO guide, and PMBOK model, and the PMBOK guide. So the DPRO guide means the project DPRO model is the guide developed by PM for NGOs targeting the knowledge and skills and competencies of project management in development, humanitarian, and emergency sector. In today's class and in next 5 classes, we shall discuss about development projects, and we shall cover the DPRO guide. And when we will cover DPRO guide, it means we are covering all the project DPRO phases. And project DPRO phase model is the model that is used in development and humanitarian sector. Now let me explain these slides first, then I shall welcome some questions. Colleagues who are working in development and humanitarian and emergency sector, they shall see these diagram in practical. Might be the project length is 6 months or 1 year or 2 years or whatever the duration is. We shall see every project has an identification and definition stage, then the setup stage, then the planning stage, and also the implementation stage and the closure stage. And in this diagram, we see a triangle, which is, and its name is the decision gate. It means, suppose we identified a project and we defined the project, but the idea has not been approved by the donor. So if donor doesn't approve the project or doesn't give the green signal, then we take decision that we will not go ahead with this project. So that is the decision gate. Okay, if we've been green signaled, we go to the project setup phase. Then we plan project, then we implement the project, then we close the project. Now the question, why we keep the planning and implementation in a circular way? As because planning is an iterative process. It is an agile process. It goes on and on during the project implementation phase. And we keep planning and we also implement the project. If we see any changes needed, we bring the changes. That's why planning and implementation has been put in a circular way, as it needs to go with the changes and it needs replanning with the changes approved by the donor or the authorities or the sponsors of the project. then the closure phase. So we see there are 5 phases in the project Dipro phase model. We shall share the project Dipro guide with you today so that you could see, you could read that what the other phases are and how project Dipro phase model works in a development and humanitarian scenario. Now, before I take a pause to welcome your questions, I would love to attract your attention in the left side of the screen. There is a top-down line where is written monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning. It means in all the phases of the project Dipro model, monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning shall happen as per the meal plan. So meal is always active in all the phases. Now, if you have any questions, please you can ask or you can take notes. And my colleagues from Bangladesh, if you have any question in Bangla, you can ask. আমার যেসব কলিগরা আছেন বাংলাদেশ থেকে, আপনারা যদি কোনো শর্ট কোয়েশ্চেন বাংলায় করতে চান, আমি বাংলায় উত্তর দেব। আই উড বি ভেরি হ্যাপি, আমি খুব খুশি হব যদি আপনারা প্রশ্ন করেন এবং আমি খুব খুশি হব বাংলায় উত্তর দিতে। Okay, so if you have still now, if you have any questions, you could put in your notes and you could ask later. Today we shall provide you the Delta River case study and which you will find in the Project Dipro guide. And I would request you to read very carefully the Delta River case study, as in next 5 classes we shall discuss and we shall refer from Delta River case study many a times to understand the sessions and to understand a development project. Now, the Delta River case study is a case study that is done to understand some issues of the inhabitants of Delta River. So in this case study, we shall see that there was an assessment, and that assessment found that the water quality of the Delta River has is deteriorated, and it impacts the crop stocks, it impacts the fish production, and also it impacts the per capita income of the families in both the sides of the Delta River. And there was high incidence of waterborne diseases in the locality. And the assessment found some key issues. Those are contributing the problems faced by the people. And the issues are the local community has little knowledge about the danger of dumping household waste. And also there were incident of disposing fecal waste in the river as they don't have access to proper sanitation. And there were corruption and inadequate oversight on the activities of the local chemical fertilizers industries, and poor planning also make the situation worse, as the treated water was not meeting the local water standard. So this is the case, and this is the case which we cannot now manage with the capacity the local community have. Now, what can we do? And all the answers we shall discuss today and the other 5 classes through designing a project to solve the problems faced by the Delta River community. We talked about decision gates. In project identification and definition stage, the first thing to do is conducting a needs assessment. A needs assessment encounters and covers the current services provided in the community, the available services, and also what are the gaps in terms of services and what are needed in the community, and the who are the stakeholders of the project, and the existing community strengths and the assets available in the community, and also how the project or the needs of the people will align with sectoral goals or objectives or strategies in national or local level. When we talk about need assessment, as a project manager, we need to understand the need of the people, and to understand need of the people, I think Bradshaw's 4 categories of social needs will explain more inclusively to the project managers to understand it. There are 4 categories of social needs we know that, and these are felt needs, expressed needs, normative needs, and comparative needs. Felt needs is what community people think, what they want, and they talk about it. An expressed need is they don't talk about it, they don't want it, but it is expressed and one can feel it through the behavior shown by the community people. And one example we can give is a long line in the hospital. So we can understand there are immense medical needs, and also maybe there are needs in terms of medical well-being. And also there are high incidence of illness and disease. Normativeness, this is a comparison between the set standards and the existing standards. What we can consult with the existing standards. And comparativeness, which is a need that is compared with the other situations. For example, what is happening in the other community and what is happening in this community. We talked about MIL, that in all the stages of projective phase model, MIL means monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning shall take place. What is monitoring? Monitoring means continuous effort to see and watchdog what is happening as per the project guideline during the project implementation. And also, monitoring means to oversee the activities of the project staff members in line with the standards set by the organization and sponsors. Evaluation is to check the effectivity of the intervention. Either the intervention is going well, and also if the intervention is effective and efficient. Accountability is to ensure that the organization, the staff members are accountable to the beneficiaries, to the rights holders. Then L means learning. In a project environment, we learn every day or from every activity, from the stakeholders, from the beneficiaries. And in a project, in every phase of the project Diploma model, as a project manager, we need to establish an environment and a culture of learning. We need to catch learning and we need to preserve learning for future. And there is a session on MIL in future, and we shall discuss in detail about MIL in a project management scenario in detail. Now, to do data collection needs assessment, we need to collect data, and we need to make decision to support the project governance, to take a decision in terms of going further, to propose the donor to support the project intervention. We know that the data is two types, primary data and secondary data in terms of sources. And in terms of data type, there are two types of data, qualitative and quantitative. We know that qualitative data means descriptive data, and quantitative data means data that we can get from the field numerically. And those numerical data helps us to set more inclusive decisions. Once we collect data, we need to triangulate data and we need to take decisions. And using these data, we analyze the current state and we work on the future state of the project. And during this project identification and definition phase, we need to identify the stakeholders of the project. So in this phase, we need to identify who will be the project stakeholders and also what are their role. For example, in a development project, we will see the users who will be the project beneficiary and also the project team. We see the governance, means the donor, the government agencies, local government. We see providers like the vendor, bank, supplier, private sector, implementing agencies, non-stop service provider who provide us different services to run the project smoothly. We see influencers like political leaders, local leaders, uh, and local elected representatives, UN agencies, media, security agencies, legal agencies as influencers, as their decisions influence our project decisions in different stages and in different manner. We see also dependents like service recipients, beneficiaries. Sometimes they are also dependent on the project, sustainers, and at the end of the project is sustained by some people, like it can be donor, it can be implementing agency, it can be government, it can be beneficiary. So these are the stakeholders who are who should be identified in project identification and definition phase. So we are entering into the project, but still not now. And in this phase, we need to identify the problems of a community. So to identify identify problems in the community, we need to see that what is the core problem and what are the supporting problem, means the other problems of the core problem. Once we identify and define the core problem, then we can define the objective tree, means what is the solution of the core problem and what is the solution of each problem of the core problems. Then if we can identify the objective tree, if we are capable of drawing the objective tree, we can draw the project logic, means what will be the activity of the project, what will be the output, what will be the outcome, and what will be the goal of the project. And this is the project logic we need to draw. And there is a separate class on project log frame, means project logic. So maybe we will not discuss it today. Now in project logic, we need to set something. Number one is activity. What will be the activity of the project, and the output? What will be the output of the project, and outcomes? What is the outcome of the project, and goal? What is the main goal or purpose of this project? Then logical framework, I think it will be discussed in a different class. Risk analysis. During project identification and definition phase, we need to analyze the risks of the project. What are the existing risks? If there is any commercial risk, economical risk, legal risk, organizational risk, political or social risk, environmental or natural risk, technical risk, project management related risk, we need to identify and we need to put in a diagram. So we have a different class on risk analysis. So today is all about what will be done in project definition and identification and definition phase. So these are the simple things. We have explanation classes in future. Human resource analysis. In this phase means project identification and definition phase, we need to make a list of human resources. What are the roles we need? How many staff members we need? What is their positions? What is their role? What is their responsibilities? And what will be their remuneration? What will be their contract duration? We need to define it. Then supply chain analysis means what materials we need to buy from the market, from which market, and from which vendor. Do we have enough suppliers in the market, or we need to go to another market? So what are the sources of materials? Now, I think today's class is a very short class. If you have any questions, you can ask. For my Bangladeshi colleagues, আমার যেসব কলিগরা বাংলায় প্রশ্ন করতে চান, আজকের কোয়েশ্চেন ক্লাসটা আসলেই শর্ট। যদি আপনাদের কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন থাকে, I think আমি বাংলা উত্তর দিতে পারবো, and also in English if you have any questions I can reply. We shall send you the video link, the class material and the class slides by tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. I had a question. Can you please explain again the problem 3?
I think I missed your question. Can you please tell me again, or you can write it?
Can you please explain again the problem 3?
I think anyhow I missed your question. Because of the volume issues. I think I missed your question because of the volume. I'm sorry. Okay. Explain the problem tree. Okay. The problem tree is a tree that helps us to find out the core problem and the contributing problem. Core problem means the main problem. So we need to identify the main problem. Okay, now I found the main problem. Now, then I need to ask why this main problem is happening. So those are the contributing problems. So if these are the problem tree, there is a big problem above, then find out the small problems. So that is the problem tree. So if you have any more questions, we can talk. Okay, so thank you very much. We shall see you in the next class. Best of luck.